Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is so ridiculous. That is Tyler Siskey warding off Ghost.
Well, you never know. I was concerned that maybe your Ghost here has been here a while. There's been a couple of leap years or something, and maybe confused on what day Halloween is. So I just want to make sure we're protected and everything's good for the show.
I've slept well for several days now. So.
Well, you don't sleep in that room either. And is this room right above us too?
No, it's a little over.
All right. I don't.
She's not right here.
She's not right here.
She's close though.
Dude, stop. We can't do this again. I didn't like. It was like 2:00 in the morning. I heard every sound in the house, to where I about had to go to the old safe. I was coming out locked and loaded.
Hey, Tyler.
Dude, I was jacked up.
I followed you home.
Yeah. No bueno. No bueno, man. You watch Quantum Leap, the show?
Is where you live. Hey, Tyler.
Do you watch Quantum Leap?
I don't.
All right, so I like the show. I liked it as a kid. I like it, and they're doing a remake.
Okay.
So this episode, he was an exorcist, and so I turned it on. I saw that. Yep, it's out. No, didn't watch it. I was done.
Oh, so hello to everybody in the stream. We're going to get rolling here. Going an hour early. The reason is I've got to go to the dentist at 3 o'clock just for checkup. No big deal. To my knowledge, everything's good.
You'll know.
Yeah, I'm a take care of your teeth kind of guy.
Hey, you only get one set.
That's to my knowledge. When you look like this, you can't mess up
anything else.
Yeah, you got to the things you can control. You got to control.
Control what you can control.
That's right. So if you have a disadvantage, you've got to build up all the other advantages.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you do.
So that's the way it works. All right, so we'll get rolling here. Let me get started on an audio file. You guys know how this works. We'll get rolling. We got a good show planned for you. We're going to play some football gods. We'll talk about the CFP rankings a little bit. I'm going to go brief, but we'll talk about the Auburn coaching search. And Tyler has a theory that one of the worst nights of my professional career.
I wanted to, since I started to say the F word, so I made it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do good, Mom. I can tell when my mother doesn't listen to the show. She did not listen Monday. She must have been busy with her Halloween, because she would have drilled my eyes out about my language. Yeah, I'm going.
It's available on YouTube, so you can watch again.
Yeah, but it should be all right.
All right.
But I'm going to, since you brought up Ghost and you've been in pickle with me, I'm going to bring up your best night of your career.
Fair enough. The butterfly affected that. Then we'll do our picks on the road to Boise. So we'll have a little fun. Hang tight real quick. We'll get rolling with an audio file. Welcome into McCready and Siskey, presented by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey with you here on this Thursday afternoon. It's a Make It Rain Thursday.
Make it rain.
Make it rain. Starting an hour early. Thanks to everybody being with us on the stream. We'll be with you for about an hour and a half or so. Talk about a bunch of stuff, make our picks towards the end. NFL picks, a weird week of NFL games. I mean, good God.
Yeah, get you some of that.
And frankly, a weird week of college lines too. Not a lot to choose from, especially when you can't do SEC games. In my situation, I chose not to. I'm sticking with that. I guess once the bowl games and stuff roll around, I can pick SEC games. By then, we'll have to come up with a different competition. But
assless chaps.
I mean,
Bob thought that was funny. By the way,
it was funny. Yeah. It was funny. All right, so we'll do all those things. First, I want to pull up this reader. You'd think I have it memorized by now, but I don't. About our friends at Rain. What do we have today? It's Thursday.
You know what today is.
Thursday's become pretty routine. It's the Rain Inferno Red Dragon.
Red Dragon.
It's way up there on my list. It's probably number one.
Yeah. Today is a big rain day for me because I'm going to be up late tonight. So it's going to be a.
So you've got high school football tonight.
Yeah.
I had high school soccer the last 2 nights. Played.
Well, I got to wait till everybody's done, So it's like I don't get to go home. I got to wait till like an hour after the game before I even get out of there.
Yeah, Carson's the last person off the bench for whatever reason.
We've had this conversation in my house. I don't understand it. I don't understand why my kids have to be. I mean, there are coaches leaving the building before my kids leave.
Is he just taking the longest shower ever, or what's the deal?
No, he's not showered. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Just unwinding?
I don't know. It really bothers me. And in baseball, he's the last one on the damn dugout. It doesn't matter. They're the last people to leave any kind of athletic anything. It drives me nuts.
I'm kind of glad to have a night off of high school soccer. We had 2 games in a row, we being Oxford High School, 2 nail-biters, 1-1, lost 1. The winning, you get past the winning faster than you get past the losing. Losing sucks.
Yeah, I mean.
Lost 1-0, gave up a goal in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, that would suck.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Had all sorts of dominated the game, had all sorts of shots on our end, just could not get one in the net. And then they get one run, boom, get a kick. It just.
I mean, dude, losing sucks.
Losing sucks.
But it's a good thing because if you like losing, then you're a loser.
And no doubt about it. If losing doesn't bother you, that's a bad sign. Yeah. You show me a bunch of kids that are like, oh, home after a loss. And I'm like, oh, that team loses a bunch, and they deserve it.
Yeah, it drives me. You talking about pissing you off as a coach, and Texas had to go through this last year in Sark's first year. But if you lose a game, and it happens now, you lose a game and you get on a bus and somebody's bullshitting and cutting up, you talking about, I will go rage real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's nothing in the world that pisses me off more than after a game, a player bullshitting on the bus or cutting up and all that stuff. That's, ooh. And what really makes you mad is the players around him, they don't shut him up. Because you give your players around him a chance to shut him up. If they don't shut him up, then you got a problem.
Hey, by the way, this got thrown out, but aren't all chaps by nature assless? Right?
Dude, I don't know. I'm not an assless chaps guy.
But are there such a thing as chaps? There are no chaps for the ass either. I mean, they're all they don't cover that part of the body. They're down. They're to protect your legs, right, while you're riding the horse.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I mean, you want to talk about zone blitz or? I mean, I'm good. I have no help for you on that.
Brought to you by Rain, Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits, achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. Also brought to you by Walk On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs and with 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Let Walk-Ons take care of all your tailgating needs this season. Inquire today about their family and friends bundles. Tailgate platters, order online at walkons.com or on their convenient Walk-Ons app. And if you are looking for a place to watch games, you're hanging out in the Oxford area, in the Jackson, Mississippi area, make sure you stop in at the Walk-Ons in Oxford or Ridgeland and tell the people there how much you appreciate them sponsoring McCready and Siskey and all of the MPW digital products. Pete's Pigskin Preview, the Oxford Exxon Podcast, all that.
I'm excited to get, I'm going to guess probably between 5:30 and 7 I will be partaking.
There you go.
So I usually push it up close to game time, then walk over.
By the way, if you're in the stream, no Pete's Pigskin Preview today because Ole Miss doesn't play a game Saturday. He'll be back next Thursday, I should say. There is the Butcher versus the Spin Instructor this evening on MPW Digital. That's at 6, and then Chase and I will be here for Hand Raise Guys at 7.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where in the road to Boise, I may start having to listen to that show a little earlier before we do our picks. I may have to move that up to Wednesday so I can get some free advice. Really bothers the shit out of me when I lose picks and then like Knox knows. Like it was bad that I was asking Knox, what do you think about this? I said, if Georgia has to win by 8 points, do you like? No, that's bad. So there you go.
There you go.
You ready to do this thing?
Let's do it. So right. You got a scenario here you're going to throw by me. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this college football playoff. The rankings come out. So I'm going to play your game with you. I'm curious about your answer here. We had this big, long discussion the other day.
Okay.
And it got heated, so be interested.
Okay.
The football gods come down, Neal, and this is what they do.
What's up, football gods? Good to see you guys.
So Saturday, Georgia would beat Tennessee.
Okay.
And Georgia would go to the SEC championship game as undefeated team.
Okay. So Georgia's 12-0 going to the title game.
Yep. And Tennessee is 11-1.
Okay.
Not in the title game.
Okay.
And then our friends down in Baton Rouge decide to run the table. And they go, so they're going to end up going to the SEC championship game.
So they beat Alabama.
They beat Alabama, beat Texas A&M, run the table. I don't know who else they got.
Gotcha. They got Arkansas and A&M. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then LSU, as a 2-loss team, beats Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Okay, so LSU wins the SEC title.
LSU is the SEC champs at 11-2.
Okay. All right.
Now Georgia
so
is 12-1.
Alabama's out.
Alabama's out because they lost.
Okay.
All right. And let's say our good friends in Oxford, Mississippi find a way to go undefeated, and they're also 11-1.
So they're 11-1, but they don't go to because they lose the tiebreaker to LSU.
So you have Tennessee in the East,
right?
Ole Miss in the West at 11-1, and not in the title game,
not champions.
And you have Georgia undefeated but losing to LSU in the title game.
Okay.
All right.
And then
you got Ohio State or Michigan, one of those two went out,
okay.
And then also Clemson wins out.
Okay. What about TCU?
Yeah, they're not. I'm not going to put them in that scenario because that's not even.
So TCU loses a game.
They're going to lose a game.
Okay.
If nothing else, they'll lose in the rematch to Kansas State. So who are you putting in the college football playoff?
For the sake of just being thorough here and not complicating things.
Yeah.
The Big Ten loser is 11-1.
Yeah.
What about those 3 Pac-12 teams? Does one of them come out of this as 12-1 and a Pac-12 champ? It's important because it's important to use the word champ.
It's important.
Or one of those a 12-1 champ.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oregon, USC, and UCLA.
Right. And here's why: is everybody says all these first college football playoff rankings don't mean anything. 99% of the people are going to tell you that. Well, actually, they do mean one thing. They kind of tell you when you look at the initial rankings, they will tell you what they're thinking. They basically told you Tuesday night that if Clemson runs the table, they're in.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not leaving out a 12-0 Clemson.
No.
They're telling you that right now.
No, they'd be 13-0 Clemson, and they're in.
But what they also did tell you is if everything works out like it's supposed to, they're willing to leave out a 12-0 TCU.
Okay.
Because they put them at 7.
But in this scenario, TCU's not undefeated.
Right. But then the other thing is they put those Pac-12 teams way so far back there that in this scenario they wouldn't make it.
Okay, so what you want me to do basically is you want me to go, okay, Clemson's in, the Big Ten winners in, and then 2 of the 4 SEC teams are in. Who would they be?
Yep. Okay. Or is there any scenario in your life that you can see 3 SEC teams making it?
Okay. All
right, go. Ready, go.
Okay. LSU's in.
Mm-hmm.
First thought I have. They're in.
They're in.
They're champs. They lost on a goofy play to start the season to Florida State. The committee goes, F it, I don't care. They're in. Okay. Tennessee beat the hell out of LSU. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Ole Miss got the hell beat out of it by LSU. By virtue of that, Ole Miss is out. The Georgia thing gets interesting because Georgia beat Tennessee in this scenario at home, but lost to LSU on a, quote, neutral site. My inclination is you would have Clemson, the Big Ten champ, LSU, and Georgia in your 4. I think they would rank it. They would go the Big Ten champ number 1, Clemson number 2, LSU 3, Georgia 4.
Because they're not going to put that rematch back to back.
So you'd have an Ohio State Georgia semi and a Clemson LSU semi. And then if they ended up with an all SEC rematch, it is what it is. That's my thought. Now, if you told me that 3 SEC teams, I don't see how.
They can't, right?
The only way that they could have 3. So you asked me to come up with a way.
How?
Clemson loses to Notre Dame.
Okay.
Or something.
Right.
Ends up 12-1.
Loses it all.
Loses.
Yeah.
12-1, has a loss. The Pac-12 cannibalizes itself because I think they would take one of the Pac-12 teams before they took an SEC team as the third team.
Yeah, I agree.
The Big 12 cannibalizes itself. You're asking me for a scenario, so I'm trying to come up with one. Ole Miss just looks awesome in November. Okay, Ole Miss mauls Alabama, goes to Arkansas, wins convincingly, and then just beats the pants off State on Thanksgiving night. Momentum, etc. Georgia, the Georgia-Tennessee game Saturday is a classic, a game that we're talking about for years to come. Triple overtime. Georgia wins 56-54. We're talking about all of it forever, right? It's the game that on March the 27th when they're like, what do we put on the network? Just play the game again. Just play it again. And everybody watches it, right?
Yep.
On June the 7th, hey, what do we put on? Play the Georgia-Tennessee game. Just put it on there again. It's good. That's the scenario where I guess you'd get LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss as the 4. So in that scenario, you'd have Ohio State. Yeah, the problem is you're creating an SEC semifinal. And I don't think they want – I think they do anything in their power to not have that.
Yeah. I agree. I don't see any scenario. I think they would let a one-loss Clemson in before they would let 3 SEC teams get in.
Well, as I talk my way through it, I agree with you. I mean, if the thought exercise is come up with a way for 3 SEC teams to be in it, okay, if that's the requirement here for debate class, that's how I would get you there. If you then said, okay, is that realistic? I'd say no.
I will tell you this. In that world, let me tell you what that would cause. The college football playoff will probably start next year.
Yeah, well,
if you ended up in a scenario where you had 4 SEC teams that could say we deserve to be in the playoff, and you have a one-loss, if you start having a bunch of teams that can claim, rightfully so, to get into the playoff, I mean, they got to push it up.
It's funny. People around here, and I understand why, they look back on that Ole Miss-Arkansas game in Oxford on November of 2015, the crazy 4th and 25 game, and they bemoan what could have been for Ole Miss. I have always bemoaned what could have been for college football. Because if Ole Miss wins that game, and if the 4th and 25 play doesn't succeed, Ole Miss wins the game by the skin of its teeth, but they win regardless. And then go on and beat LSU and beat Mississippi State. They would have gotten a rematch with Florida in Atlanta, and they would have beaten Florida, in my opinion. And had they would have been the team that you're referencing here as LSU. They just would have been wearing Ole Miss uniforms. They would have been an 11-2 Ole Miss.
Going to the playoff.
Losing to Florida on the road, losing to Memphis on the road, which would have been this giant. You ever watch Pimple Popper?
No.
Okay, I like watching that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you like that?
It's very satisfying. I do. Sorry. Shoot me.
Like you've told me some disturbing things in your life. That's maybe the most disturbing thing you ever told me. I'd rather you take my eyelids open and watch the World Cup than watch that.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But that's the giant, nasty pimple. Like, it's just, you can't stop looking at it. Yet, Ole Miss would have won a championship, and they would have gotten in, which would have meant a one-loss Alabama, that loss being to Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa, or I can't remember if it was Oklahoma or Ohio State. Somebody was going to get eliminated. And I think it would have led to this, what I think would have been very productive debate. And I think right now we'd be talking about a 12-team playoff for this year.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because people would have said, okay, well, give me the argument for Ole Miss getting in. And I would have been like, oh, that's easy. They're the SEC champ. They went to Alabama and won. And then someone goes, well, give me the argument for Ole Miss not getting in. And I would have gone, that's easy. They lost to effing Memphis.
Yeah.
Both arguments are like, that's a strong argument. Give me the argument for Alabama getting in. I can't.
When does
why?
winning
Go
go ahead.
The reason you couldn't is because Alabama had a shot against Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa and lost.
How many losses? Does 3 losses? What is the number that winning the SEC championship loses its luster?
3.
3. That's interesting. Because they put a big emphasis on that. And if you win this conference, by God, you should be in there.
Well, it's the reason I kept pressing you on the Pac-12 thing. Like Oregon goes 12-1. This is valid for now. Oregon goes 12-1, wins the Pac-12 championship, and their only loss is to Georgia. And let's say Georgia is 13-0 SEC champ. Okay? Oregon goes, name 3 teams with a better resume.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're right.
No,
but
the other thing you brought up.
It's a compelling argument.
Yeah, the other thing you brought up I think is compelling too is if you let a 2-loss SEC champ in the playoff, boy, there's going to be a lot of 1-loss champions that haven't got in programs. Like, hey, what about us? We're a 1-loss champ. You start. It's going to be. I think it has something like that would have to happen for it to get pushed up a year.
I cheer for it every year.
Yeah,
I cheer for the chaos every year because I'm all for the playoff. I've always been for the playoff. The 4-team thing is it's a recipe for disaster, and it puts too much pressure on people to sit in a room and try to break it down analytically. And to this point, everyone's bailed them out, right? 4th and 25 bailed them out.
Always works out.
But at some point, it's not going to work out.
By the law of averages.
Got a shot this year for it not to work out.
It does. It's a long shot.
But it's a real shot.
But it's a real shot.
It's a real shot. I don't have to get – Clemson wins the ACC, goes undefeated. Oregon goes 12-1, wins the Pac-12. Only losses to Georgia.
You can say the Big Ten loser between Ohio State and Michigan being –
Yeah. Someone's undefeated in the Big Ten. And then the SEC is a collection of –
it's beating itself up.
Yeah. But at the end of it, you look at it and you go, okay, well, what do we have here?
Yeah. No, you're right. All right. I guess we got to. What do you want to – I don't want to wear this thing out because it's going to be a long-ass month.
Okay. Lane Kiffin to Auburn. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
The Auburn coaching search. All right, here's what I think is happening at Auburn. I'll boil it down into really simple equation. My opinion.
Okay.
Twofold. One, I don't think they're anywhere near as far down the road as people think they are. As we tape this on November the 3rd, I don't think they're sitting down interviewing people. I don't think they're flying Deion Sanders to Atlanta for a secret meeting and all that BS. I mean, look, stop.
Can I say common sense guy real quick?
Sure.
Hand raised guy that's been in the business.
Yeah.
Okay. Deion's not flying anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
If they wanted to talk to Deion, do you know what they do? They go to him. They're not flying. Deion's not getting a plane and going to Atlanta. Come on, guys. No. Whoever put that out there, that report, is full of shit.
Absolutely.
So whoever said it, you're full of shit. I don't even know who you are.
Okay.
All right. That's my point on that one. Go ahead.
So as of this moment, I think the guy that they're talking about the most is Lane Kiffin. Now, I still say the same 3 things that I've said all along, and the more people I talk to, the more I'm convinced I'm right. Okay? 1, it's an egregious fit. Okay? And I think there's plenty of time because today's the 3rd, the Iron Bowl's the 26th. They're not doing anything. They have 24 days at a minimum to sort through just how bad of a fit it is. And I think someone's going to figure it out, okay, on both sides. But if I'm wrong, if you told me that on November the 28th, November the 29th, there's a press conference in Auburn announcing Lane Kiffin as the head coach, I'll tell you one thing emphatically. He got a contract that is approaching $100 million, okay? It's 8 to 10 years. It's a minimum of $10 million a year. It's probably a little more than that. It's guaranteed. It's a Jimbo Fisher deal. It's so much money that he just couldn't turn it down. So then I circle back to the other thing. So before you give somebody that contract, you dig deep on fit. You dig deep on everything about the guy, everything about how he would fit there, what happens there. Auburn just got through paying, by the time this is over, they're going to have paid Brian Harsin $15.5 million. They got to pay Malzahn. They're still paying. They've paid Malzahn, but they paid him a bunch of money. At some point, someone's going to go, why are we doing this? I think. Especially when there are other candidates that I think you could hire for half of that, including Hugh Freeze.
All right.
So if you made me bet today, I'd still bet against Kiffin. But when the people go, hey, this and I hear some Ole Miss people doing this wishful thinking that, hey, this Kiffin to Auburn thing is totally made up. It's just totally leveraged. No, it's not. It's real. It's real. It's absolutely real. And if Auburn decides that it wants to go all the way in, I think they can get it done. But what I'm trying to say is, I hear people go, well, maybe they could get him for 6 years. No, you're not going to get him for 6 years and $42 million. Ole Miss is going to be able to come close enough to that it won't matter. But if you put a 10-year contract worth $110 million on the table, can you get Lane Kiffin? Yes.
All right, so in interest of the show, I was on the phone this morning as I talked to you before the show. And I did look, and I guess I got connected. It's not the right word. I just grew up there. I know people and all that. I know people that are in different levels, I guess would be the right word I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, different levels. So we're calling, talking. Obviously, there's some things I can and cannot say, but for the first time, I heard them in unison. They want Lane.
Yeah.
That is real.
Yes.
That's not rumor.
No, it's definitely real.
I promise you, it is not rumor.
No, it's not rumor. It's definitely real.
Okay, they want Lane.
Yes.
All right. But you know why you study history, Neal?
Because it repeats itself.
Because it repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an Auburn person, and I grew up an Auburn person, okay, in my entire life, and every single football coach that they've ever hired, they never competed for a head coach. They've never have. Ever since I have been alive, since Pat Dye took the job.
Yep.
Pat Dye came from Wyoming. Nobody else was knocking down the door to hire Pat Dye. Turned out to be a good hire, did great things for Auburn, right? Not saying they don't do good jobs.
Yeah.
But that's who they hired.
Terry Bowden was from
And then
Sanford.
they go to Samford
right.
to get Terry Bowden. Nobody's beating down the door to hire Terry Bowden.
Mm-mm.
All right? And then when he leaves, guess who they went to go get?
Well, they hired Tommy Tuberville because now I'm on the beat. And Tuberville a year earlier had been pursued by Arkansas and stayed at Ole Miss. But to your point, he was becoming a hot commodity.
But he wasn't at that time.
Right. But Ohio State and Michigan weren't beating down the door. Right.
All right. And then after that, they go get on a plane and go get Gene Chizik.
From Iowa State.
That was 5 and 17, I think.
I think that's right.
5 and 17, 5 and 18 as a head football coach.
In that range, yep. Mm-hmm.
And they hire him to be the Auburn head coach.
Yep.
And then after that, they go to Arkansas State, where a guy had been head coach for 1 year. And that was your coordinator, and you bring him back.
And the only competition there was potentially Arkansas. Right.
Maybe.
Right. I said potentially.
Allegedly,
sure.
right? Because he did have the money people. But you never have really gone out, and not that they haven't interviewed people, okay? Like Kirby was way down the road with them.
Yeah.
Way down the road with them when Gus got the job. I'm talking about way down the road with them. And I've actually been in this situation before with them on a staff with somebody that was going there. Let me tell you what they do. So Auburn, I hope John Cohen is listening. This is what Auburn can't do. If they want to go hire a coach, this is what has happened in the past. Had this conversation with somebody that's on the inside, and he admitted it himself. This is the problem. Is we'll go down the road with a coach, and before he signs the paperwork, he'll be asking for things like coaches do that have leverage. That when you have leverage, you go in and you ask for things.
Because you got to get everything you want.
You got to get everything you want while you're hot.
While you're undefeated.
And so before he signs the paperwork, they go, nope, you can't have that. 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 And then he's like, oh, bump this. I'm out of here.
Right.
And you end up with choice number 46. Okay, choice number 46. Do it like everybody else does. Say, yep, sign the paperwork. Nope. I mean, that's what everybody else does anyway. You said I could get that. It's okay. Well, we'll figure it out. You're signed now. Signed, sealed, and delivered. So with that being said, going back to what you were saying about Lane being a fit, Lane is going to want some things.
He's going to want everything.
He's going to want everything.
Everything.
The other thing
because look, the people around him, he might be locked into the Ole Miss season. He is, because he's got Alabama coming in 9 days. And he wants to beat Nick Saban as bad as I want oxygen. He's focused on that right now. And if he wins that game, my God, all of a sudden the stakes are massive, right?
If he beats Alabama, he may get $40 million a year.
But my point is that the people around him they're all. Trust me when I say this. They're cognizant that this is not the greatest fit in the world. This is not this.
It's a big step for Auburn if they do it.
Even Jay Tate said this. Jay covers Auburn and has for a quarter century. He says I can't remember his word. It's a synonym for awful. It's an awful fit. And maybe it works, but it's an awful fit. Because the stuff that Auburn people want their coach to do, he doesn't do and isn't going to do.
And an Auburn person, they do need that, though. That's what Auburn needs. Auburn needs to get out of the freaking high school mentality, man. This is not high school football anymore.
Yeah.
All right? This isn't 1980.
Yeah.
And that goes with offense. That goes with recruiting. That goes with everything. This is not 1980. But the only thing I'm ever going to ask, this is the last thing I'll ask about it. As an Auburn person growing up, War Eagle, the creed, the whole deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cult. You know, the only thing we're missing is pumpkins on our heads and torches. Okay?
About to get it.
But it's a cult. I'll give you that. I'm with you. War Eagle. But here's the deal: is the only thing I'll ask is just go fucking compete, man. Stop settling. If you want to be a top 10 job and you want to be taken seriously like that place can be, then go freaking compete. I don't care if it's Lane or if it's not Lane or anybody. Sure. Go pay somebody. Stop being cheap and go pay somebody.
If they get Lane Kiffin, they will have paid. Because I'm just.
Why do you study history? They have never done it before.
Right.
They have never done it before, ever, 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 ever.
And if you made me bet, sometime between now and November the 26th, someone in that is going to go, this is just a little rich for my blood.
And then
because there are other candidates, there's other names that pop up. It's all about Kiffin until you go, okay, well, what if? And then there's these other names, which tells me that you're not singularly focused. There's still Hugh Freeze. There's people that talk about Dan Lanning. There's people that talk about Matt Rule. There's people that talk about Jeff Grimes.
His name has cooled off in my circles
considerably. So we'll see. I mean, again, hey, look, it's great news for like my buddy Jay, who's going to do so many shows and super chats and stuff because everybody loves gossip and drama and rumors. All I'm going to say is there's a lot of time between today and the 27th of November.
And I promise we're not going to spend every show talking about this because this drives me nuts. I hate talking about the same shit over and over again.
Well, you just don't know. I've already hit the point where like people, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, because it's like, what do you think? I was like, God, I've done 52 shows already. What do you think? I'm always amused that people are like, oh, you tell it like it is, and then they think that I hide something. It's
Kevin Steele's not getting the job, so you can take that for whatever you want to take it for.
It's not that.
Just trust me on this one, okay? He's not getting the job.
If it's not Lane, I
know where they're going.
I love Hugh Freeze's chances.
You're not going to be wrong.
Yeah, if it's not Lane, I love Hugh Freeze's chances here.
All right, so can I tell you
if you frankly, and this is why I'm an Occam's razor guy.
What the hell is that?
The most logical explanation is usually where you're going.
No, you got to keep it simple with your boy.
You could get Hugh Freeze for, at minimum, half the price of what it would probably take to get Kiffin. And Hugh's a better fit. And a lot of the stuff that Lane won't do, Hugh will do with a smile on his face.
And Hugh will do a great job at Auburn.
If he lets them, and I think he would, if he lets them help him put a staff together.
Yeah, he won't need much help.
And if they give him the NIL money that people are talking about, he'll be dangerous there.
All right.
Listen, we're going to talk about something in a little bit. I mean, I like Hugh fine. He's not my favorite person, and I'll tell people why in a minute. but he's a hell of a good football coach. And what happened to him at Ole Miss with the NCAA thing was a witch hunt. Some of it was his fault, but regardless, it was a witch hunt. And the stuff that he was accused of doing, which, they didn't do because they didn't have the resources to do that. There's a reason Carl Lawson didn't come to Ole Miss. The stuff that
I was on staff and that happened. Right?
I know. He can do it now. He can do those things. It's legal. Hell, it's encouraged. So Hugh Freeze would do really well. So that's why I just think between today and then, I just think someone's going to go, hey, you know what? We could save ourselves a lot of money. And let's see, I think you have to do this too, real quick, then we're going to stop. If you're Auburn, you do have to say, hey, before we do a Jimbo Fisher contract, let's at least have the conversation about what happens if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If it's Lane Kiffin, you're effed. You're just effed. You're screwed. If it's Freeze, he doesn't have because he's coming from Liberty, he doesn't have the ability to have the kind of leverage to go, I want this, this, and this, and I'm not coming without all of it. So you can put some buyout language in his deal, or if it doesn't work out, you can cut ties a lot cheaper. Lane Kiffin's got all the leverage in the world, and in 9 days could earn even more leverage, right? He beats Alabama, and he goes, oh, yeah, by the way, and I want
15 a year.
And I want a gold statue of me already, like the Jesus statue in Rio de Janeiro. I want that over Jordan hair. Like,
could you have the eagle placed on top of Juice in the statue? Like the eagle's riding.
Yeah, I mean, at that point,
what if the eagle, instead of flying, starts coming out of the tunnel, riding Juice down the?
It's possible,
down the 50,
right?
possible.
I mean, he would be able to get anything he wanted at that point. So, my point is, Hugh can't, and so I think someone at some point goes, it's probably the smarter thing.
All right, so you said what I was getting to, is that history repeats itself, right? So if history repeats itself, what's he say?
We didn't pay Carl. He loved Auburn and was a great fit.
Yeah. So was Derek Hall, Grind. So Derek Hall was a great fit too. Good job. Yeah. Grind, me and you to have some beers and talk about how that was going down.
Oh, shoot.
All right. So I probably shouldn't have said that. Don't clip that for a promo clip there, Cole. But anyway, history repeats itself. I think they'll get down the road. Won't be able to close the deal for many reasons.
Yeah.
And then the conspiracy theory hit me on the drive from the office to your house today.
Okay.
Why do you think Hugh got that deal the other day? The puppet master. Let me tell you something. Jimmy Sexton is the greatest agent that's ever lived in any sport and anything.
He got a good deal from Liberty. Where in the event that the carousel doesn't work out his way, he's got more. They love him there. But he hadn't signed it yet. And supposedly the buyout's not prohibitive. So gives him a little more leverage going into a deal with negotiating with an Auburn or whatnot, because he has more money to build on for more money. Right.
So $5 million is no longer a number. Now it's probably $7. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Jimmy Sexton.
But you could get Hugh Freeze to Auburn for 6 years at $7 million a year.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying
that's $42 million, which is less than half of what I think it's going to take to get Lane
I think
Kiffin
he was
to
making
Auburn.
just a little under 4 before now.
No,
and so where if you said, okay,
sure.
5, he'd have taken it.
Sure.
Well, now he's making 5.
Yeah, no, it'll take 6.5.
And it was perfect timing.
Of course. Well, he's the best agent in the business.
Ever.
There's a reason for that.
Ever. Jimmy Sexton, the Red Dragon, to you, my friend. He's a good one.
I thought you were about to make him the Quick U agent of the week.
Hey, Jimmy Sexton.
Quick U agent of the week.
The Quick U agent of the century.
Wow. Oh, how about that?
There's not any better one. I don't give a shit what sport. Jimmy Sexton is the best agent that's ever lived.
Scott Boras is pretty good.
Hey, Scott Boras can't scrub Jimmy Sexton's nutsack.
Oh, my God. We've just gone way too far. Tyler.
As I say that with a cross on my name.
I'm the ghost.
This cross is going to start burning a scar on my chest.
Tyler, stop talking about other men like that.
Yeah. Red flags. Hey, but we've managed to keep them out. They haven't come to Brendan's girlfriends. I thought they'd show up after that one.
Yeah, they might.
They just haven't caught up yet.
Give them a minute. They're too shocked.
They don't know which bot to program.
Yeah.
Which way are these boys batting?
I'm confused. All right.
We're
moving
off the rails.
on.
Yeah, we're off the rails. All right, so hey, you want to talk about your worst night, or your best night? Is it your worst night or your best night of your career?
It was a fine night from a professional standpoint. I thought I handled myself quite appropriately. I got back to my hotel room in Chicago and discovered that it was a disaster, to the point where I told my wife that night we're going to have to move.
Seriously,
I did.
How'd she take that?
Was
she down? Is she cool, or did she give you shit?
Oh no, she didn't even know about it. Laura is not a sports person. Okay, she doesn't watch. She doesn't keep up.
I'm married one of those.
Yeah, she doesn't keep up. She doesn't give one damn about. Now listen, if you are her employer, she loves Ole Miss. Hotty toddy. Boy, she loves you. Woo! She's in. In reality, she couldn't care less. At all. It's one of the reasons that we do well is because we don't talk about it, right? I mean, I don't have to worry about her going, hey, what's going to happen with Lane? She didn't care. I mean,
yeah,
whatever. So that's good. But no, I told her that night, I said, we're going to have to move. And she said, why? I said, I'll show you some emails and stuff. We're going to have to leave. I mean, there's no way we survived this. And that, frankly, it got worse after that.
Really?
For a long time.
I didn't know you were going through all that, by the way. I mean, you've told me since. But
yeah, no, it was bad. It was really bad.
So for those that don't know, Neal, you had a major impact on the National Football League this week. Were you aware of this till I brought it up?
I was not. I had not ever really thought it out this much.
And nobody's writing this story talking about how Neal McCready affected the NFL this week. Nobody's writing this story. So we're going to be breaking news. Let me tell you what my man Neal did. So on draft night, what year was that?
2016.
The 2016 NFL draft.
And can I tell you real quick? That day, I'd had such a nice day. Yeah. I'd gone to Chicago.
Calm before the storm.
I'd gone to Chicago on Wednesday. And I'd gone out to the NFL. They did a little deal for the kids in Chicago, and the players were available. And I'd talked to everybody I needed to talk to. I'd done a lot of advance work. I wrote some really good stuff leading up to that. It was going to be a good night for Ole Miss. Laramie was going first round.
You talked to a bunch of uncles and cousins?
I talked to a lot of people, yeah. Laquan Treadwell was going first round.
Yeah, Evan.
No, Evan was.
That was next year, right?
Yeah. Most people felt like Robert had a real shot to go first round.
Yeah.
And so I'd done all that work, and I felt really good about it. And on Thursday, I went out to Wrigley. Cubs had a 120 game, if I remember correctly, against Atlanta. And
I don't remember.
Went out to the game. I said, I need a fast game, need a good, well-pitched game, need the Cubs to win. All those things happened. I think Jake Arrieta pitched for the Cubs, pitched really well, beat the Braves in a pretty quick game. I got out of there, got back to the hotel, changed clothes real quick, and then left for the draft. Got to the draft, everything was good. Laramie Tunsil watch, because there were rumors where Laramie Tunsil could go as early as 4?
3.
3, okay. And so as the draft got started, I'm up there ready to roll, ready to do Laramie stuff, and then all hell broke loose. Go ahead.
All right, so as I was eating my Milo's hamburger, watching the draft, and my phone rang off the hook that night, our good friend Laramie Tunsil, thanks to gas mask, started falling and falling and falling and falling.
Yep.
Ends up with the Miami Dolphins.
Was it 13, 14?
Fuck, it was way down there.
Yeah.
Enough to where my phone was literally on 0.
That was before they took your phone away, right?
No,
No,
I wasn't here. I was already somewhere else.
Oh, you were gone. Okay.
I was taking calls from NFL teams going, what the hell's going on? I thought you said he was a good character kid, yada, yada, yada. I said, he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's a lot of questions. Things get weird on draft night. Well, Neal, he falls to the Dolphins, as you recall.
Oh, yes. I remember.
And because he fell to the Dolphins many years later, the Dolphins trade Laramie Tunsil to the Houston Texans.
Yes, they did.
Which then the Dolphins take those draft picks that they had, use it as leverage, and are able to trade back with the San Francisco 49ers this year's draft. And the San Francisco 49ers take Trey Lance. Womp, womp, womp. And out of those picks, out of all of that, the Dolphins end up with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb. Because of you, Neal McCready, the Dolphins are now a legit Super Bowl contender. Hey, tip of the cap to you. So if you are a Dolphins fan, you just got all kinds of shit over there, don't you?
Yeah, I'm just celebrating.
If you are a Dolphins fan and you don't send Neal McCready a Christmas card thanking him for his impeccable journalism that got you the players and the championship that you have today, you, my friend, are not a true fan. Crazy shit, huh? The butterfly effect.
The question that I didn't even ask. Nothing wrong with the question, by the way. The question was fine. There was nothing wrong with the question.
Dude.
I actually gave him an opportunity to sort of explain it away, and he didn't do it.
I mean, in his defense, that's probably not what he thought he was waking up to that morning either. And he's a young kid that was inexperienced. What do you do? How do you answer those questions? I mean, there's no training. Because it's not like he was a quarterback and it had been.
Well, and he'd been pampered from the media his entire time at Ole Miss because Hugh was always afraid that people were going to ask about his recruiting.
Yeah. His recruiting wasn't that bad.
I know it wasn't. Yeah, it was a crazy night. So I did my job, wrote. I guess that's one of the people from the season, the Ole Miss media people, said something nasty to me in the hallway, and it caught me off guard. And I kind of looked at him like, what? I had no idea like what was unfolding, right? And I got back to my seat. It was in some auditorium in downtown Chicago. I can't remember. It was a theater. I got back to my seat at my computer, and my phone's kind of blowing up. And I knew it was bad. I knew things were bad, but I didn't completely understand it, right? And so I wrote. I wasn't on deadline, but I needed to get stuff up on the site. And I'm writing, and and Laquan got drafted, and then Robert did get drafted. And so I went to those press conferences too, and I'm writing all this stuff, and I get back to the hotel, it's like 1 a.m. And I look on like my site, Twitter. Boy, Twitter was whew. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I thought I didn't understand it. Like what are you talking about? And that the questioning, and I did ask questions that night of Laramie, but I wasn't the only person. And yet I got hammered for it, and it reopened the NCAA. All the NCAA stuff was still so raw, right? Because I think there was this perception that it was almost over, and then that happens, and it kind of got reinvigorated. The case did. The NCAA's like, we got to take a step back and look at this, and blah blah blah. It gave them an excuse to open it back up, kind of. That next day, I was like, screw it. I went back out to Wrigley, went to a Cubs game. I did turn my phone off, sat there, drank a couple beers. And I got back to the hotel on Friday night, and it just had not gone away. And because my flight back was on Saturday morning.
Right.
And that's when Laura and I talked. We talked that Friday night, and I said, we're going to have to move. And she was like, oh, it'll pass. It'll pass. And I'm like, it's not going to pass. And we go to this party the next night. One of her friends was getting engaged. It was a secret engagement. And it's at Bourré, upstairs in Bourré. And this guy like challenges me to a fight. I wonder if I want to step outside. And I went, yeah. Because at that moment, Tyler, I did want to step outside. Did you choose violence? I got lucky. Really, I did. Number one, I don't know who would have beaten whose ass or what would have happened. But
you had anger on your side?
A grown man stepping out into the street having a fight is never a great idea. Okay. And I realized that I was that angry. I was like so pissed off at like the people coming at me. I got lucky that I guess he thought better of it. I don't know whether he was like, gosh, he jumped at this opportunity pretty quick. Or
about like 99% of them.
But it blew over, but I was like, oh, this is not good, and then it kind of kept stuff like that kept happening. And your boy Freeze told people that had it not been for me asking questions, the NCAA case would have been over, which was not true.
Yeah, that probably didn't help.
Hugh did the Twitter thing where he unfollowed me. And then at Media Day, we didn't talk the whole summer. At Media Day.
But don't feel like you're the only one on that.
Yeah.
He unfollows and follows me from time to time when he depends on when he's mad at me.
Whether he's mad at you. Yeah. So at Media Day, he tells me, I'm in the Manning Center. I'm in the
Matter of fact, while you're doing that, I'm going to look and see if he's mad at me right now. Go ahead.
I'm in the Manning Center, and he goes, hey, glad to have you back. Glad that you're back. And I was like, well, why would I not be back? And then I looked down, I'd gotten the notification that he'd refollowed me on Twitter.
He must be mad at me. He's not following me right now.
He's not following you right now?
This goes on like this has been going on since I left to go to Alabama. Like, so he unfollowed me when I left.
Yeah.
Followed me when I was there.
Yeah.
And then binocular thing happened, and he unfollowed me. And then we got back on good terms, and so he followed me. So, and then I must have picked against him in a game or something. So don't follow me before we get to these picks today. You may not ever follow me back.
Killicam, thanks for the super chat. It says best show in sports on MPW. Appreciate it. That's very nice. It was just
hey, we got a bunch of people watching right now.
It was a bizarre time. Yeah.
If you're in the stream, can you please hit the like button for my man Neal?
Yeah, hit the like button.
Hit the subscribe button too.
Hit that button too. It's free to subscribe.
Doesn't cost you a dime.
You can hit the notification button if you'd like. If you don't, that's okay. We'd love for you to.
That thing doesn't work all the time.
It's erratic, but it will work more if you do hit it.
That is true. It's kind of like, did you buy a lottery ticket?
I did not.
$1.5 billion.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Hey, look, let me tell you what's going to happen. Hey, guys, in the off chance that your boy hits the lottery this weekend,
you're out.
Hey, it's been real.
This will just be McCready.
Yeah.
Powered by Rain Total Body Fuel.
Hey, it's been real. Quick you. Love you. Clay, Connor, you got them. But me and Neal will be doing this show from Aruba on Monday. And if the cam doesn't work or the mics don't work, who gives a shit, right?
That's right. Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Someone could say the mics don't work. I don't care.
Who cares?
That fish hears us.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
But no, it was a pretty interesting time. That's interesting to know that I impacted the NFL to that point.
Congratulations.
So you're telling me I should be a Dolphins fan at this point, or the Dolphins should be a Neal McCready fan?
The Dolphins should be a Neal McCready fan.
Damn right.
You know what time it is, Neal?
Tyler, I think it is time for the road to Boise.
The road to Boise on Make It Rain Thursday. All right, here we go. NFL. You want to start them off, or you want me to start them off?
I must be missing something in the thread. I'm being asked to explain for Drew how I brought Lane Kiffin to Ole Miss. Is Drew arguing about me or something? Drew doesn't like me very much.
Yeah, Drew
does not like me.
I can't. I have no idea. It'll be all right.
I don't know. Hey, Drew, here's the deal, bud. And I'm gonna say it to you respectively. I've learned this after 6 years of this. The video is on YouTube. You can go find it. No, I'm totally serious here. This is what point I'm at. I'm here because it impacted the way that I lived here. More importantly, Drew, some people went after my 15-year-old daughter that summer. That was the great part. Some people went after my 15-year-old daughter. Yeah. Well, if I could find them, I'd beat the shit out of them. That'd be the fight that I'd take. And if the cops wanted to haul me off, they could just do it. It'd be worth it.
Yeah.
But it's right there. It's on YouTube. Find it. You hear my voice all the time. If you think that sounds like me, I don't know what to tell you. Secondly, and this is most important, there wasn't a damn thing wrong with that question. Laramie Tunsil was a professional that night. He chose to have a press conference. Professional media people asked him professional questions in a professional setting. The fact that his answers were what they are, that's a Laramie problem. That's an Ole Miss problem. It's not the problem of the reporters who asked the question. There you go. 6 years later, you want the truth? I wish I'd asked the effing question. I do. If I had a do-over, I would have been the one asking that question. I wouldn't have surrendered the microphone. I would have kept going. That's the truth. That's the truth. There was nothing wrong with that line of questioning. The story that night was Laramie Tunsil. That was the story. It's the NFL draft. It's a big night. It's a big journalism night. Okay? You know, it's a big night for the kids. It's a big night for the people covering it. It's a big night. The NFL draft's a big effing deal. That's why probably starting in January, we'll talk about the damn thing for 4 freaking months. Mel Kiper's made a living off of one night a year. Credit to him. Not an insult. But the draft's a big deal. You know it's a big deal. You know it's going to be covered. And that night, when right before the draft starts, Laramie Tunsil's doing the Darth Vader thing with marijuana smoke, you had to think, I don't know, just maybe, someone's going to ask about it. It's possible. I mean, it's possible that everybody goes, hey, Laramie, what are your thoughts about playing left tackle for Miami? Are you excited to be at the beach? Do you like turquoise? I mean, I guess it's possible that those were going to be the questions asked, but I would have thought just maybe had I been on the media team, hey, they're probably going to ask you about the mask thing. Oh, and then there's another set of deals about you taking money and stuff. They're probably going to ask about that too.
Hey, for the record, I would like to say it's been 48 minutes since Neal cracked his reign. 48 minutes.
Just saying. Just saying.
I love you.
No, I'm good.
I love you.
I'm totally at peace with it. The truth is, it actually sort of made, it was one of those deals where you have moments in life where you realize that you need to circle the wagons. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You've had those.
I've had a few.
You had those.
Just a few.
And when you do, it's kind of a cleansing thing. It is. It's a very cleansing thing. It was good.
I like when you get hot.
Not even hot. But there was nothing wrong with what was asked that night.
No, you're doing your job.
But I mean, the guy who asked it was some reporter from California. My job, and I view this very clearly, no part of my job is to protect the Ole Miss football program. None. You know that. You worked at Ole Miss, and I covered you. No part of my job is to protect Ole Miss. There's nothing in there. Here's where it is. Be fair to Ole Miss. Be objective to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And there have been times when I've been the voice that defended Ole Miss, including a lot of times during the NCAA thing.
Yeah. You've always been fair, dude.
That's my job.
And that's the only thing. And I've told you 1,000 times. I'll tell people in here for 1,002 times. I'm 100% convinced the reason that you and I ever had a relationship beyond of reporter, employee, or whatever the hell you call that, is because you were fair. And that's all you can ask for in a business. And,
of course.
And
the truth is,
I don't like it the other way. I don't like it when it's all snow clouds and bunny rabbits and My Little Ponies.
Here's the truth. When you guys were there, I was kind of for you. I liked you guys. I liked you personally. It was the easiest.
Me too.
It was the easiest professional relationship I ever had. But I told you this. I'm like, it's a scoreboard.
You've said that a couple times.
I don't control that scoreboard.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't either.
You know, and so whatever happens on that scoreboard is what's going to impact what happens the rest of the way. And it sucks, but it's the real world.
It is.
And I'm going to approach my job that way at all times. That's the way I'm going to do it. I've always done it. The truth, like people are like, what do you think about Kiffin? Well, here's the truth. I'm going to be prepared for Kiffin leaving, and I'm going to be prepared for Kiffin staying. Because guess who's not going to come to me about that decision? Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Corey says, so Siskey isn't a Chuck fan. No, let me tell you something. And look, one thing about me is, for those if you can't tell, I could give two shits what other people's opinion of things or people are. I like Chuck. Some of you may not like him. I like Chuck. I like David. I like Ben. I like Chase, obviously. I like every single person that's on this beat, that's ever been on this beat, but one. That's the only, and it has nothing to do with the coverage of the team, what they said, right, wrong, or indifferent. But no, I don't talk bad about people because they're on the opposite side or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I love those guys. I think they're awesome people. And so if you don't like it, then you can go kiss my ass. So that's pretty much where I'm at on that.
All right, let's do picks. Road to Boise.
All right.
You know what? I'm going to go first.
You want to go first?
I'm going to go first because if I'm responsible for the Dolphins, then by God, I'll just open this pitch up by saying, give me Miami -5 at Chicago on Saturday. I'll go right there.
You're locking that in?
Locked in.
Is that your
Dolphins -5 at Chicago? It's my NFL pick of the week.
Now, are you betting with your heart or your head here?
Neither.
Or your emotion?
I'm actually just, it's a perfect segue for Cole.
Yeah. Clip it, Cole.
Hey, Cole, this is easy.
Yeah. Cole, I know what your next tweet's going to be.
I do. I think the Dolphins are undefeated against the spread when Tua has quarterbacked this season. The weather's going to be 64 and sunny in Chicago. I actually did do a little research on it. I think everything – the Bears, there's no – they got – Briggs is gone. Roquan Smith is gone. Their defense was anemic against Dallas. That was with Smith on the field. It stands to reason it'll be even more anemic this week. The Bears clearly are building for something down the road, accruing picks, etc. So, yeah, I actually like this pick a lot.
I had that in my pool of picks. I love that pick. But since my ass is going to be freezing, I have to figure out – I got to play the game theory. I got to go somewhere different.
Yep.
But I think you're right on that. If this was week 1, I would agree with you. How about that? That would be one of my picks if it was week 1.
Okay.
I think that's a free money pick. NFL. Okay. If there is a free money NFL pick this week, I think that was it.
Okay.
All right. I'm going back to the well here because there's NFL sucks this week. But that's right, GJ. I haven't seen GJG on here yet because he probably doesn't know the show is coming on in a minute. He'll probably hop on here in a minute.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons are at home against the Los Angeles Chargers.
They are.
At noon.
You've got this at 3. I had it at 3.5. Do you want me to check on the
latest? Oh, please. I will gladly take a half a point here.
Let me see what we got.
Grind, remind me at the college part. I got something for you on that, okay? On this app Coastal game.
Ooh, I wish I knew because that was one of the games I'm kind of thinking about.
I got to wait till Neal picks his before I give any advice.
Let's see.
I got to wait for Neal to get done before I talk about some stuff.
Which one am I looking for here? Oh, Falcons. It's 3.
All right, it's 3. All right,
3.
Fine. I'm taking the Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons at home against a very beat up Chargers team. And for some way, somehow, the Falcons are in this NFC South deal. I don't even know. The NFC South is terrible, but I'm taking the Falcons at home +3.
To prove to you that I'm not cheating here, there it was. I'm not. I only had 5 NFL games. I couldn't find 6 that I liked. I've also got the Falcons +3 at home against the Chargers.
It's gonna be cold again. If you're a meteorologist in Boise, Idaho, and you can dial up some good weather, I appreciate it.
All right, you want me to go first then on these, where you can decide?
No, it doesn't matter shit. Because I don't have, but I mean, you're either picking them or you're not at this point. Because I'm not changing.
All right, my second pick. Well, my second pick was Atlanta, so it's your turn.
All right, my second pick, or that was your second pick. My second pick. The Green Bay Packers are going to Detroit, and they are 3.5-point favorites. Detroit gave up this week. They gave away probably their most consistent offensive weapon because the other one's been dinged up, and T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
They traded him. When I say they've given up so much that they traded him to their own division.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened since like 1998 or something.
At this point, they have to just throw all that to the wind.
Yeah, they're giving up.
And accumulate.
They're selling. They're giving up. I'm taking – and the Green Bay Packers, look, I know they're not great. And for whatever reason, with all of this stuff out there, with all these people being traded on Tuesday, they still decided not to give Aaron Rodgers any more weapons to work with, which tells me that also Green Bay is saying, do what you got to do with it. But Aaron Rodgers is – I like the competitor in him. I'm taking the Packers -3.5 at Detroit.
All right. Boy, there's a thread. There's some conversation in that thread that I so badly want to weigh in on, but I'm not going to. Not worth it.
Well, it's not the Call of Duty.
No. It's the –
Is it your boy Drew?
It's the stuff about 24/7 and breaking off and what happened and why it happened.
Where am I missing all this at?
It's okay. All right, my third pick. I haven't liked this team all year, but I'm starting to realize that I'm wrong on them. And so I'm going to correct that here at the midway point. Give me the Minnesota Vikings -3.5 at Washington. I watched the Commanders last week, and they screwed me and they won the game, but they're not good. Vikings are pretty solid. Give me Minnesota -3.5 at Washington.
Neal, my third pick. I will be taking my fat ass to Boise in a T-shirt because I'm never going to be able to fucking catch up. I have the Vikings.
I mean, you could deviate from your plan now.
I mean,
you've got more games here listed. You could deviate from your plan and do something different.
I have the Vikings -3.5 at the Commanders. Even though, look, let me tell you how much I love you guys. Is Neal and I are 11-0 when we pick the same games. I'm doing this for this. I'm doing this for the stream.
You doing this for the people?
I'm doing this for the people. I'm going to freeze my ass off for the people. I'm taking Minnesota minus 3.5 on the road. Look, Minnesota acquired talent.
Yes.
Washington got so lucky with that win last week. They were throwing. I mean, it was bad.
Minnesota's a really well-coached football team.
They're a well-coached team. They're playing well. They made moves to get people. Irv Smith goes down. They go get T.J. Hawkinson. Look, that's easy money for me. Minnesota minus 3.5 at Washington.
All right. My fourth NFL pick, I'm going to stick with the team that's been good to me. I'm just going to roll with them for a little while. I've been watching them some, and they keep winning, and they just look the part, and you're going to give me points with them. I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks +2 at Arizona. I'll just take my points. Arizona's not good at home. Seattle's good everywhere. I know metrically people are still hung up on Seattle, and they think they're going to regress to the mean, and maybe they will, but there's no sign of it yet. Give me the Seahawks +2 at Arizona.
Is it a Call of Duty double XP weekend?
That I don't know. I'm not a gamer.
Not a gamer. My kids are playing the shit out of it right now, though. It's very difficult. I tried to play.
Yeah, I have nothing against it. It just I don't have time.
Yeah, I tried to play
It's
last
not my
week.
thing.
Yeah, they laughed at me because I didn't make it very far.
As far as I've gotten in the gamer deal was the MLB game.
Yeah, the show.
I built my person.
Yeah,
and I started in the minor leagues.
Yeah,
and I tried to work my way up to the majors.
Did you make it like on easy level where you just hit bombs?
I did it first, and that wasn't fun.
It gets boring after a while.
I mean, you're hitting like 72 home runs in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
You know, they're calling you up, and you're hitting fourth for the White Sox. I mean, and then when you make it hard, though, it's almost like I'm never going to get out of here, am I?
What team did you?
I ended up with what is now the Guardians.
Okay. The Indians?
It was the Indians, too. Yeah.
That's sweet. All right, Neal, my fourth pick. The Indianapolis Colts are going to New England on Sunday.
Okay.
Colts gave up, and they're playing a New England team that's suddenly found a little momentum. I like New England minus 5.5 at home against the Colts on Sunday. Don't you do it to me again. Are you serious?
Nope.
Oh. You like that pick, though?
I do like the pick. It was on my list. I don't know why I didn't do it. The Colts have just – I'm getting them wrong, and so I'm leaving them alone, like, for a little while.
You bet on them last week, though, right?
I bet on them a couple of times and just missed. So I got them right once, but I don't feel good things about the Colts, so I just kind of leave them alone, other than their uniforms are great.
Yeah. I think there's a new resurgence in New England last couple of weeks.
Could be.
With Mac Jones, a little sense of urgency.
Yeah, he should.
Defensively, they've been playing better, so that's where I'm at.
All right, my fifth pick, and I can't believe I'm doing this because it's just so many points.
Yeah, they can't believe you're doing it either. Is that Hugh calling you?
No, it's not Hugh. God, I almost said something mean, but I didn't. You might have heard that there's a World Series game tonight, Game 5, Philly and Houston.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a football game too, involving the same two cities.
Has that ever happened?
I'm sure it has.
I mean, the exact same two cities playing each other in the other city. Same kickoff time.
I'm sure it has, but I don't know. I mean, I can't think of it right off the top.
I remember Kansas City playing a Monday. Somebody, I think Dave Mach 10 Sports, brought it up today in the meeting about Kansas City playing like a Monday night game during the World Series when I think the Giants and the Royals were there. But I'm saying like the two exact cities playing.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
It's a ton of points, but listen, the Eagles offensively are they're dynamic. Houston, the Texans, it's over. They know it.
Brandon Cook's not playing tonight, by the way.
Yeah, Cooks isn't playing. I'm a little worried the Eagles will get bored, but I'm hopeful that by the time they get bored, the lead is so big that it doesn't matter. I'm going to take Philadelphia and lay 14 points in an NFL game against Houston on the road.
Wow. I saw a tweet earlier that home double-digit favorites on the road in the NFL. Oh, excuse me, double-digit favorites on the road in the NFL are 3-10 against the spread.
Yeah,
this year.
it's a terrible number. But if Philly wants to play well tonight, they will run away and hide from the Texans.
Yeah,
I mean the Texans lost Did you watch any of the Titans-Texans game?
Oh, yeah, I watched all of it.
I mean, Malik Willis might one day be a really good quarterback, okay?
They didn't have to throw the football.
Right. But that's kind of my point is they won with Malik Willis at quarterback.
Yeah, he threw 9 passes the whole game.
Jalen Hurts is going to throw a little bit more than that.
Couple.
There's no A.J. Green on that Titans team. You know, I mean, he used to be, obviously. I just think Philly's going to run away. I think they're going to score unless they get bored.
The only danger you have is the old backdoor McCready coming to get you.
Yeah,
that's it.
It could. I will be cautious of that going on. I'll be watching behind me.
All right, my last NFL pick, Neal.
Yep.
I'm going all the way to Sunday night primetime.
Oh.
The Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Are going to Kansas City.
Getting a bunch of points. What are they getting, 12.5?
12.5 points they're getting. And guess what, Neal?
What's that?
It's too many. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans, the 5-2 Tennessee Titans, plus 12.5 at Kansas City. Okay?
Gotcha.
The Titans, when they play Kansas City, this is all they either dominate them. Tannehill's going to be playing again. He's back. Malik Willis back where he belongs.
I need to add more sound effects. This is fun.
Yeah, you should. I like the Tennessee Titans plus 12.5 at Kansas City on Sunday night. Derrick Henry goes wild. My man.
There it is. All right.
We need to get these college picks.
Let's go to them.
We're running out of time.
Yep.
Got to get your teeth fixed. All right, go ahead and start them up.
Get them cleaned, not fixed. All right, I'll start in the Big 12. I'm kind of heavy on the Big 12 this week a little bit. Big 12's been pretty good to me. I think it's going to be good for me again this week. At least I hope so, because I'm feeling cozy a little. I was right on Texas Tech last week. I think I'm right on them again this week. Give me TCU minus 9.5 at home against the Red Raiders.
Wow.
That's my first pick. TCU, knowing now, hey, the pressure's on, but they also know there's a path. And I think they take care of business against the Red Raiders, who struggle defensively. TCU's pretty good on offense. I think this has a chance to get out of hand. 9.5 is, frankly, I think the line's low. I'll lay those points.
Yeah, they struggle away from home, so I like that pick. And TCU has to. They saw where they're at in the rankings. They got to pick it up. I like that pick. All right, here we go. Pick number 1. The North Carolina Tar Heels are traveling to Charlottesville, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
They are 7-point favorites against Virginia on the road. I don't think that's anywhere in the vicinity of enough.
I think you're right. This is a good pick.
I think this game is going to be like a 41-17 game. Virginia doesn't score a lot on. They're good on defense, but they haven't really faced an explosive offense that can put up points like this. And when they do face offenses, they get their freaking teeth kicked in.
Yep.
I know North Carolina's got their limitations on defense, but I mean Virginia's anemic on offense, man. I'm going North Carolina minus 7 on the road against Virginia.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick. Like it.
All right, what you got? Pick 2.
Staying in the Big 12 because I think there's a couple of free lines here. West Virginia loses their star running back.
Yep.
Going on the road to Ames. Got their heart broke. Kind of done. A lot of pressure on Neal Brown. A lot of stuff about bringing Rich Rodriguez back to West Virginia. That's out there.
You don't say.
I do say. And you already know because he's one of your best friends. Give me Iowa State minus 7 at home against West Virginia. I just like it. It feels nice and clean.
Yeah.
Iowa State, really good defensive team. I don't think West Virginia can score. Iowa State's good enough to put some points on the board. Not a ton, but they're not going to need a ton. I think this is the Big 12, I think, gets predictable as the season goes on.
My boy Rich Rod's running through shit down there in Jacksonville State, by the way.
He is.
Year 1.
He is. Would he go back?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, come on,
I need to break a story.
Come on, man.
Rich Rodriguez to return.
Let me tell you what, though. The
last time that I was breaking a Rich Rodriguez getting a job story was I was getting vasectomy and stuff. I mean, that's how far back that was. Rich Rodriguez to Alabama, we broke it.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that. I got a good vasectomy story I'll tell you one day. Here come the bots. All right, here we go. No, it didn't sound like that, boss. Wasn't nothing about that. All right, here we go. My Clemson Tigers.
Yep.
I'm the only one in America that likes Clemson. Everybody else, they're not that good. They suck. Da-da-da-da. Guess what, Neal?
Yep.
They're going to Notre Dame.
Yep.
And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to look ahead of their schedule. And they know where they were this week, that if they continue to win, they're in.
Yep.
This is the biggest game they got on their schedule.
Yep.
And when something happens, when visiting teams show up, regardless of how good or bad the team is, when you show up in South Bend and you get to see Touchdown Jesus, you come with a little more juice that day. They will be ready to play. They have every reason to win this game big and play well. I'm taking Clemson minus 3.5 at Notre Dame, and I don't think this game's particularly close.
Well, people were giving you 3 gifts this week at least because I'm completely in with you. I want Notre Dame to win because I'd love the chaos. Clemson losing is chaos.
Yeah.
I would love the chaos. I don't think there's a scenario where there is chaos. I don't see how Notre Dame scores much in this game. I think Clemson does. Give me Clemson minus 3.5 against Notre Dame.
Dude, you're just freaking killing me. Neal, what Neal is doing right now, Neal is officially, he's already bought his jacket. He is doing everything he can. I see you over there, but hey, you know what? I don't hate it because I'd be doing the same shit. So, Neal is just ensuring himself that he's making me wear assless chaps and a t-shirt. All right. The rest of the way, I'm going SEC on you, Neal.
Okay.
All right. Let's start it.
This is your 4th pick?
This is my 3rd pick.
3rd pick.
Let's start it, Neal, in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Let's start our SEC road trips in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
All right. You're going with your guy, Hugh Freeze. You're going to take Hugh Freeze winning straight up in Fayetteville.
My man, Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
Your
guy, Hugh Freeze.
I guess is today, this is what happened. This is what happens.
Okay.
I guess he's mad at me.
Okay.
All right. Because he's not following me on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I pick them to win or cover, he will probably follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
But you know what, Neal?
You're going to do it.
It's okay. It's okay. Because I'm taking Arkansas minus 13.5 at home versus Liberty.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, look, I think they're going to compete. Dude, it's just the running game's going to be too much.
They're going to score. They're just going to have such a hard time stopping that running game.
Very similar to what happened out at BYU to where it's like, hey, BYU's in this game and just kidney punch. And then eventually it's just going to take over. I think it's a 20-point game, 21-point game, but I like Arkansas minus 13.5 at home versus Liberty.
All right, this won't be my pick. I won't double up on this, but I will tell people that if I allowed myself to pick SEC games here, we would be in agreement. So if you're looking for a bet, I think Arkansas covers that line, and that's not.
Did you pick it in Neal's picks?
Yeah.
What'd you pick the score to be?
45-27.
That's about right.
Had to make 18. I think.
Yeah, I think by the old math.
I think Arkansas wins 2.5 to 3 scores.
Hey, Rick Size Ben, I understand. Again, I know the image I put off. I'm highly aware that all chaps are assless. I'm trying to be funny, so enjoy the comedy. It's my poor attempt at it.
But yeah, I like Arkansas in that game.
All right.
And plus, I think they've kind of gotten well a little bit. Like their defense is not good, but their defense against Auburn was better than what their defense has been earlier in the year.
Speaking of,
they've gotten a few people back.
The Auburn Tigers.
Oh, okay. You go for it.
Are going. Is it my turn or your turn? That's your turn.
No, go ahead. I'm not.
You can't pick
I don't have
games
this game.
Anyway.
So go ahead.
I was trying to scare myself out of strategy.
You got Auburn going to Starkville. What you got going on there?
Auburn going to Starkville. They have fired a lot of coaches this week.
They have. Cadillac Williams, his first game as the interim head coach at Auburn.
First game as the interim coach at Auburn. So he was the running backs coach. Now he's going to be the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
They fired the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach.
You want to feel old? You want to feel old?
I'll tell you how to tell me. He's from my hometown.
I covered Carnell's recruiting.
Yeah.
And now he's the interim head coach?
Yeah. As a coach, I went and saw him play a high school football game.
I mean, how old I did too.
Yeah.
How old must I be?
Well, I get it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But he's going to be coaching running backs now. I
don't feel that old.
No, hey, you look great, man.
But I feel young. I mean,
That's all it counts.
I don't
it's what's in
feel
your heart.
that old.
What's in your heart?
Youth
and reign. All right, so no coordinator, no quarterbacks coach, no tight ends coach. Now your running backs coach is gone. So basically, you're left with 2 full-time guys on offense. And they're promoting people from within. But look,
still,
I've been there. I've actually done this before. All right, when we left, when this whole Arkansas State Ole Miss transition happened, we had 4 coaches on our whole staff left. Very difficult. Let me tell you where it gets difficult. Everybody's going to be fired up. We're going to have this great pregame speech where we may recite the creed and what it means to be an Auburn football player and all that stuff.
Yep.
And it's going to last until you get your ass hit in the fucking mouth.
Yep.
And then all that shit goes out the window.
Yep.
And then when adversity hits, there's not going to be anybody on the sideline that can capture those kids and bring them back. I got Mississippi State minus 13 free money play of the week.
Let me ask you a question. If it's a wet track, if it's raining, does it matter?
No.
Okay.
I mean, no. I mean, adversity is going to hit. They're going to get behind. The kids, can you imagine how many portal calls and everything else and tampering has been going on this week?
Good God.
Their mind's not on this game.
It's been incessant.
They fire the coach on Monday, not before the weekend.
Right.
So you had all that going on early in the week, not game planning. Will Friend will be – have they broke who's calling plays yet?
I don't know.
Will Friend, the offensive line coach, is calling plays.
Okay.
Breaking news. He's called it before at Colorado State with Bobo.
He'll keep it pretty simple, I'm imagining.
Well, his offensive line coach calling plays, so you're going
to run the football.
You're going to run the football.
It's going to be a big day for Tank Bigsby.
Yeah. Yeah, if you got Tank Bigsby in your fantasy league, it'd be a good one.
Yeah.
But, look, Mississippi State at home is tough to beat anyway. It's a hard play. They're doing really well at home. I got Mississippi State minus 13 free play of the week.
Okay.
Quick U versus Quick U, by the way. But
all right.
Yeah.
Well, last week, if you recall, I went with South Alabama.
You did. They were the McCready Media.
They were the McCready Media
Team of the Week.
Team of the Week. Wasn't that long ago? 2 weeks ago, we were in Mobile. We saw Kane and the Jags. It's nice to see him. We also got to visit with John Summerall and the Troy Trojans. Nice to see John.
Oh, man.
2 guys that are moving up in the coaching world, no question about it. Last week, I liked the matchup, South Alabama at Arkansas State. Laid the points, no big deal. This week, to even things out, got your Troy Trojans. They're going to Lafayette, Louisiana. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Give me the Trojans minus 4.5 at ULL.
Like that pick a lot. Points will be at a premium down in.
Yeah, I don't think the Cajuns are going to be able to score much on the Trojans. The way they play defense, they are physical. And Troy getting better offensively every week, just a little bit better.
This has got like a 21-7.
That's what I think too.
24-10.
21-10.
Somewhere in there, all over.
If I had to lay more than 7, I wouldn't do it. But 4.5, I'm cool.
Yeah, that's a good pick. All right. My last pick before we get to the money line.
Okay.
The Alabama Crimson Tide are going to Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
You get to hear it's nighttime in Death Valley.
It's Saturday night.
Saturday night.
In Death Valley.
And you get to hear Garth Brooks play for 4 hours in the pregame.
It's a cool pregame. We can make fun all you want. You can make fun all you want. It's a great pregame. The way their band marches in and stuff, it's fantastic. I'm sorry, but it is. I get there early and watch it every time, and I'm never disappointed.
And Brian Kelly gets to face the person that made him take this job, his arch nemesis, Nick Saban, who's gotten him all along the way, many years and many years and many years at many different stops. Always gets him. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what, Neal? Brian Kelly gets his revenge.
Are you taking LSU
tonight
to win the game?
Oh, fuck no. Oh. I'm taking LSU plus 13.5 at home versus the Crimson Tide. I think that
if it means anything to you, we're in total agreement on SEC picks so far.
Okay.
I like Mississippi State to cover, and I like LSU to cover.
I just think this is going to be closer than the experts think. I think it's going to be a battle. It always is when It doesn't matter what kind of Alabama team goes down there and what kind of LSU team there is in Death Valley. Very, very few times does Alabama go in there and run away with it.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody was trying to correct me. I think it's the first night game there this year. If it was, the other one was against Southern or somebody, whoever they played.
Yeah. No, it'll be festive. It's supposed to rain. A lot of rain in the. Let's see if it's still the rain in the forecast because I pulled that up.
Well, it makes me feel better.
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at Baton Rouge weather just a couple.
I'm with you, Grind. Saban's always had Kelly's number, but Kelly hasn't had the horses in the past. Different athletes, different type of athletes.
Let's see. Baton Rouge, it's 83 right now. Saturday, 72 degrees, thunderstorms in the morning, followed by occasional showers in the afternoon.
Perfect.
High of 72. Chance of rain 100%. Saturday night, a few clouds from time to time. Slight chance of a rain shower. Low near 65.
Perfect. I'll have the field be nice and toasty. And it'll be good, man. I just think this game, I think it's going to be a really good football game. I do. The biggest issue that Alabama's going to have on defense is are they going to try to play coverage or are they coming after him? And if they try to play coverage, I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if they come after him and they miss, they're going to give up big plays on the ground with the quarterback. And look, Jaden Daniels playing good football. He's stacked weeks. He's been playing good football. So I like LSU to cover. Not to win, but to cover.
I like that pick. All right, so I'm down to my fifth pick.
Yep.
And I've got three here that I like. Probably going to meet in the middle. I'll tell you the two that I'm not going with. I like Wake Forest -4 at NC State. I'm not crazy about it. I like UCLA -11 at Arizona State, but it's a kind of a big number.
That's big.
So I'm going to meet in the middle. BYU's had a long season.
Mm-hmm.
Started good. Competition got to them, got banged up. Big game after big game after big game. They played that great game against Baylor. Arkansas popped them. Liberty popped them. I think they're getting popped again. They're going to Boise. Speaking of the road to Boise, we'll just take a quick little trip to Boise. Give me Boise State -7.5 against BYU.
They're -7.5?
Boise State's -7.5.
Yeah. Boise's quietly been putting it together.
Yep.
All right. You know what time it is, Neal?
It's moneyline time.
Moneyline. This is the money line. If you watched Monday's show, Neal.
Yes, I did. I was there.
Were you?
I watched.
I couldn't tell if it was you or a ghost. But Monday, I teased this.
Mm-hmm.
The game of the year.
Yep.
Is in Sanford Stadium on Saturday at 2:30, CBS, in a game that will last 800,000 hours because of the 67 TV timeouts. That will be your favorite part. And so I want to
let... You have no idea how pissed off TV timeouts made me.
I know. I do. I'm aware. I was there.
You were like worried I was going to hurt the TV timeout guy in Mobile.
Yeah, I was a little.
I was like stalking. I was like, why?
Yeah, you were. I finally asked him. Lane. Neal was actually having a conversation with a TV timeout guy in the middle of the game. I was like, hey, let's go down here. Let's go down here.
I was like, why are we doing?
And it wasn't a peaceful conversation.
Why is this 3 minutes long? Explain this to me.
He did explain it to you, though.
He did. He was embarrassed.
He was embarrassed. But that's what happens when the first 28 minutes of the first half go in
29 minutes.
29 minutes, and they have to sell ads.
He goes, this is the last one. I'm like, it's the 8th one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. But the Tennessee Vols, Neal, are going to Georgia, and they are 8-point underdogs. But You know what they are? They're plus 235 on the money line.
Wow.
I'm taking the Tennessee Vols to upset the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday in a track meet of all track meets. Georgia's defense is really good, but one, they haven't been tested like this.
Yeah.
And then two, if you look at the issues they've had, like last week against Florida, were communication issues in the back end. No bueno this Saturday. You have to have those worked out.
Oh, yeah, or Tennessee will get you.
And so
because they score quick.
I don't know how much communication. I really don't. I haven't asked. Has been going on between Athens and Tuscaloosa. But I can tell you, very well sourced, that Alabama was if they had to go back and do things over again, they felt like they played it a little bit. They played coverage instead of going after the quarterback.
Okay.
And I think they were worried about getting ran by.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got in the game, they realized they really wasn't as fast as they thought they were, and probably could have gone the other direction and gone after the quarterback.
Georgia dials up some pressure.
I think Georgia, they have to, because it's the same defense. You could literally line up in the same formations and get the same checks. I think Georgia will come out and pressure, and it's something that hasn't happened to him, except for in one game. One game all year has somebody lined up and got after his ass, and that was Pitt, and that game went to overtime. So I think you have to. I think you see it on film. You're like, oh, these guys are too fast. We can't give it the big play. Well, you've shown now if you sit back and play coverage, you're going to give it the big play too, because they're so good at skimming up those things. Georgia has to dial up pressure. They have to get to him. That's going to be the whole key to this game. If Georgia can dial up pressure, I'm not talking about the downs, because contrary to popular belief, I think they are maybe one of the worst teams in the SEC in sacks right now. Georgia is.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't generate. And for all you gurus out there, they're a 3-man front, and they're that's why they're not getting pressure with their downs, and they don't have that dominant edge guy like they've had in the past. I think that if Georgia can get after him with pressure and play the man coverage, they win the game. If they don't, Tennessee's going to win the game. And how many times do you get the number one team on the road as underdogs? I'm taking Tennessee plus 235 is what I got it on the road at Georgia.
You wanted me to bring something up because one of the games I've looked at about laying points, I thought about laying Western Kentucky minus 16 at Charlotte. You asked me to bring Charlotte up.
Yeah, so if we got anybody from Charlotte listening, they're going through a coaching change right now. Do you know who would turn that program around and dominate at Charlotte?
Hugh Freeze?
No.
Lane Kiffin?
No.
Are you saying Lane Kiffin could not win at Charlotte? That is insane.
No, because nobody would transfer to Charlotte.
Who you got?
The king of the Carolinas, Sean Elliott.
At Georgia State?
Yep. Dude, he would recruit his ass off in the Carolinas and bring toughness is what they need. Dude, they would be, and they're, Conference USA and all that stuff, they would go straight to the top. And you see what he's done at Georgia State? Georgia State had never even thought about winning until he got there. And it's time, dude, I'm telling you, I bet, dude, he would turn that place around. So I'm starting a movement, Sean Elliott to Charlotte.
Okay.
Since you get credit for bringing Lane Kiffin to Ole Miss, mm-hmm. I'm going, my first shot at it is going to be Sean Elliott to Charlotte. A movement. I may get a damn T-shirt.
You should.
Sean Elliott to Charlotte.
Okay.
Dude, they would kill it. They would kill it. He's the king of the Carolinas.
Knows a lot of people there, for sure.
Not a lot.
Yeah. Everybody.
And it's closer to home for him. It makes sense. Hey, pick up the phone. I'm just telling you, if you want to win, you want to win big, go get my guy, because they would be tough as hell and be knocking the shit out of everybody. Which, by the way, they play Southern Miss this weekend in Hattiesburg. So if you're a Hattiesburg guy, go back there and watch. If you want to see violence, go watch that game.
Okay. All right, so I'm down to 2 money lines. I was actually looking. An interesting game. Pitt and Syracuse, by the way. It's only a 3-point line. Pitt favored by 3 against Syracuse.
That's weird to me. I mean, I don't know. That whole thing was strange to me.
I'll give you another freebie. San Diego State minus 6.5 against UNLV. I like that one a bunch.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for a dog. I got 3. I'll tell you one that I love, honestly, but I'm not going to do it because that's SEC. I love the value on Vanderbilt in the money line against South Carolina. No, I'm not doing it. It's SEC. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to break my rule. But Vanderbilt's plus 225. You want to take a little flyer, take $20.
Where is it at?
Nashville. Commodore Walk is going to be so lit. Commodore Walk is going to be crazy.
All 4 people getting loud?
Oh, they're going to triple that. They're going to be 12 people there. It's going to be bonkers. Commodore Walk. They're going to walk into that stadium. South Carolina get a little flat. Spencer Rattler throw a few picks. Next thing you know.
What's the line?
7. I'm in all seriousness, you want a
what's the money line? 222?
225. You want a value pick? There's one.
That is a value pick. Is this the week? How happy would you be if they won?
No joke, thrilled. I would have so much fun on Twitter if I'm still sober enough to find the keys.
What's the odds in that? Is it a night game?
Yeah, 4-1.
What time's the kickoff?
6:30.
What network is that on?
SEC network.
I thought Cole told me that they had Mississippi State this weekend.
They might. Let me see.
There's a Saturday Night Crew.
Hold on, I'll tell you. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Yeah, SEC network. Cole's ESPN 2. Auburn, Mississippi State's ESPN 2.
But he usually does the SEC. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong.
He's been doing MAC stuff this week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He was in Detroit on the airplane, or getting on the airplane.
All right, so I got 3 that I'm looking at. 2 that I'm looking at. Got Oregon State at Washington. The money line's 155. The only thing that scares me here is the whole ranked on the road against an unranked team. Although I watched Ole Miss defeat that last week, so whatever. And then the Kansas State money line, but there's just not a lot of value here. Kansas State, the money line's 125. Actually, it's 120. I just looked at it; it dropped.
Would you bet? Maybe somebody's bet on it, or the line moved.
Yeah, it moved a little bit. Kansas State at home, a little worried about the quarterback situation. Texas is good, but everybody's overvaluing Texas. But you know what? The Pac-12's been pretty good to me. Oregon State's been pretty good to me. It's a little better value. I get plus 155. I will go the Beavers in Seattle, winning straight up, money line 155.
That's Friday night?
Yep. It's a late game Friday night.
Okay, so I need to pull for Washington. Gotcha. I hate to do this to you, but I'm officially in the stage where I got to pull against every pick that you've made. Is it okay?
It's fine with me. Whatever you got to do.
I got to start looking for sleeveless thermals.
You can wear sleeves. You just can't wear a hoodie or a jacket.
I'll have Vaseline on my arms. I'll go old school on you.
I wonder what the temperature will be that day in Boise.
It's potluck, man.
It might not be that bad.
That's what I'm saying.
It could be 40-something.
It could be.
Cool, but you're not freezing.
I've also seen it when it was 6.
Then you're tough. I'll actually feel bad if it's like that.
We may need to have, medics on site. I don't do well in the cold. People that know me, I don't do cold weather.
Well, just so you know, I've already come up with, in the event that it's me, I've got some strategies.
Well, I haven't started. I didn't really consider me being the one wearing the short sleeves until this past weekend. And now I'm in 2-minute drill throwing up freaking prayers and shit. I'm to that stage. And if I don't close the gap this week, you better look for a Central Arkansas beating Alabama next week or some shit.
You're going to be jumping on.
I'm going to be jumping on the money line trains.
Money lines.
Hoping I hit one.
There were some other money lines that I liked. I don't hate James Madison's. The money line's 250 at Louisville. Hard to believe Louisville's going to get that many.
What's the line though?
7.5. I even toyed with the Arizona State money line. UCLA, the pressure on them now. That's a big money line, 330, but probably not.
I liked, depending on if John Rice plays or not, the Central Florida Memphis game could be good. A good pick either way, depending on who plays. Because Memphis, they've lost 4 in a row, but they do keep it close.
Miami's a money line pick, line 7.5. Miami.
Nobody is talking about this game, and it used to be the biggest game of the year.
Tells you a lot. The Miami money line's 250, 7.5 point home dog against Florida State. Tells you a lot about.
I can tell you this: they will be ready to play in Coral Gables with Mario and Kevin Steele.
I feel pretty good about Boise BYU because of the money lines.
Yeah.
The money line on Boise is now minus 305. I almost went with my boys ULM, but I got scared off. They're a 1.5 point favorite over Texas State.
It's water ski season.
South Alabama is a 4-point favorite at Georgia Southern, but I'm scared of that.
Dude, it's a big game. Well, big game for both Quick U clients.
Yep.
But I told you before, one year we went in there with 23-point favorites or something like that. We went in there and we got beat 55-0. at 23-point favorites.
If you believe in Arkansas's defense just being a sieve and you're looking for a value pick on like a $10 buy, the Liberty money line's $4.50. Now, Liberty beating an SEC team is going to be hard to do. And to get your money line, you got to get a win.
All right, so let me tell you what pushed me over the edge with Arkansas.
Sure.
Did you see the do you have Hulu?
Yeah.
The Liberty scandal thing came out on Hulu this week.
Oh, Jerry Falwell and the stuff.
Dude, it's not for the tame of heart.
You think that's distracting the players there?
It's got to, dude. I mean, they show the football. I mean, it's
yeah.
Dude, it's wow. Like if you want to be just like like my personality, I was blushing.
Ooh. Here's another one. Baylor at Oklahoma. Baylor only a 3.5-point dog, and you get a money line of 145.
Just letting you know right now.
Oklahoma's figured it out, haven't they?
Boomer Center.
Yeah. Oklahoma's figured it out.
They got their guy back, and they're starting to get their groove on.
Yeah. So I mean,
you remember a couple of weeks ago when everybody was giving them shit by being late to the pregame meeting, or post-game deal? Shit changed after that. They got the bad stuff out.
Georgia Tech, 3-point dog at Virginia Tech. Money line's 135.
I can't bet on Georgia Tech or Virginia Tech.
Here's an interesting one. Maryland getting 5 points at Wisconsin. The money line's 165. Wisconsin's played better since the change.
That tells me Tali is healthy and ready to go.
Yeah.
Kansas. Hey, what's
and
the
then
Kansas?
And then I don't hate the Iowa money line. Iowa money line's 145 at Purdue. Purdue has struggled.
What is
Kansas?
Oak State, Kansas is 1.5, right? Is it still 1.5?
I think so. I'm looking for it.
Kansas quarterback allegedly started practicing this week. Allegedly. The one that was supposed to be out for the whole year.
Yeah, I'm looking for that line. Here it is. Kansas is now a pick. So there's no money line value. That game's a pick 'em. Oklahoma State at Kansas.
So he must, because it was like
he must be back.
He must be back.
Yeah.
So the rumor was he was going to play.
So anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. A lot of good games. We will be back on Monday to talk about them, see who did well, who did poorly on the road to Boise, and more importantly, we'll talk about how the SEC race looks after a big weekend in the East with Tennessee and Georgia, and in the West with Alabama at LSU. Again, our thanks, as always, to our friends at Rain.
Bob's watching. He sent me I saw a text message. Bob, appreciate the hell out of you, brother.
Absolutely, Bob. You're the best. I mean, we'll be announcing some stuff here soon involving even a further awesomeness from our friends at Rain. So 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Hey, real quick, because Grind asked me about it earlier. I know we got to go. Grind, I would, if I was taking that game, I'd take Coastal tonight.
Yeah.
Coastal they're underdogs at home.
Yeah. They're really good at home.
They're really good at home. App State, Coastal, dude, I don't know. They find a way. I would never bet. Either I wouldn't play it or I would take Coastal at home. Or I wouldn't play it if you didn't like it.
Okay.
Sorry, Grind. I meant to do that earlier.
All right, we'll stop there. I got to get moving. Thanks to everybody in the stream. Appreciate you guys as always. Also, thanks to all of you who've been out buying Rain. We've seen the pictures and stuff, and it's great. We really appreciate it. I know the people at Rain do as well. So for Tyler, I'm Neal. Have a great weekend. Be safe if you're moving around, traveling, and we will talk to you again on Monday.